Second to get caught up here, and then we will get started. We do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or most Sundays anyway. So, all right, and then yeah, let me just get loaded up here, and then we will get going. That would help if I got that turned on. Okay. All right, let me take a drink and then we will get started. All right, everybody, so welcome. Like I said, this is our regular Sunday night live. We do this every Sunday, or most Sundays anyway, and it is a live Q&A. So if you have any questions about Coturnix quail, feel free to ask, and we will help you on your journey the best that we can with Coturnix quail. So if you have any questions about breeding or selling or raising or hatching or brooding or any quail related question, feel free to ask, and we will do our very best to help you on our journey. We do this every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We do a lot of cool things on here. We've been doing this for about 3 years now. And so if you've hatched any hatching eggs from us this past week and have not given me the update or the results, please let me know. I will write those down for our records. We are currently sitting at a 72.1% hatch rate on shipped eggs this year. So we're doing pretty well with that, but that is getting all the information back from the customers that purchase things and either tell us on here or email or text or whatever the case may be. So we're doing pretty well with that. If you want to let us know where you're from, it's always interesting to see where all the quail people are at in the world. That's a lot of fun, and we like to support each other. So if you can just hit the like button and support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Hopefully you were able to watch the video I posted earlier in the week about reasons my quail are not laying. That seems to be a very hot topic right now. So hopefully that will help you on your journey. I posted that earlier in the week. And then today I just posted a short video about simple ways for a bachelor pad. So hopefully that will help as well. We've got some good videos coming out this week as well. And hopefully we'll be finalizing some things on some big projects we've been working on shortly. So pretty excited about that as well. So Sundays, I read all of the comments. So, let us know you're here. Let us know where you're from. And I read all the comments. And then Tuesday at 8, that is correct. Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live, and it is a rapid fire Q&A. So I only read the questions, I answer those, and we go as quickly as possible. This one takes a little bit long because there's a lot of communication back and forth. But hopefully you can join one or the other. And remember, I post early saying that I'll be going live. So you can always jump on there and type in your comment at the very top. So for example, tonight, Feathered Connections Homestead put first like Beach of Steve, and then they posted way earlier before I went live. So if you have any questions, you can always jump on there, get the reminder, type in your questions, and you'll be the first ones to be answered when we go live. I think that is all the information I am giving you tonight, so we will jump right on in. But again, support the channel by just hitting the like button. I would greatly appreciate it, especially if any of our answers help you on your journey. But we are very happy that you are all here, and glad that you're a part of the quail community that we are building. Feather Connections Homestead's in the house. Christine Spots is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Feather Connections Homestead says, would you elaborate on why you prefer breeding best of the best versus spiral breeding? Is there a difference in each cage? Is there a difference if each cage is always best of best when spiraling? It's just not really necessary. You can. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just a lot of extra work that you really don't need to do. But again, there's not really anything wrong with it. It's just more work. Feather Connection says, by the way, hope you're feeling better. I am. I'm having major type 1 diabetes issues, so been in bed most of the weekend, hoping I figure out what's going on soon. All the best. I hope you feel better soon. And it's lingering a little bit, but I am starting to feel better. So I hope you do as well. I do believe that Ed Got Bait, which is one of my moderators on here, he's starting to feel much better. He was missing last Sunday, I do believe. He wasn't feeling too well, but he's starting to feel well. Verna Young, which is my other moderator, was down and out this week. She's feeling better. So it's going around. It's going around. So everybody stay healthy. Ellen Martin's in the house, says, is tuxedo a possibility with any color, or are there ones it won't work with? That's a good question, and for most of the colors, and then she put i.e. Italian tux. For most of the colors you can, some are harder than others, and then there are some that you just can't do. So pearls, fab fees, actually most of the fee gene you can't really do tux with except for the growl tux. I can't think of any other fee gene color that you could do tux with. You know, Egyptian fee, pansy fee, pearl, fab fee. Yeah. So most of the fees you cannot do except for the growl fee. The other colors you can. Some are harder than others. The easiest ones are Rosetta, Tibetan, and Scarlet. Growl fee was pretty easy. Oh, you can't do it with Sparkly. So you can't do it with that one. So, I mean, it's a hit or miss. Typically, the ones that you can do, Wilds and Italians are going to be the hardest to maintain. Not that hard to get. It's hard to maintain generation after generation. It's a very good question. Foster Farm says, is in the house. Hi, everybody. Driving through Pensacola, Florida at the moment. Just dropped in for a minute. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here, and thanks for stopping by. Obviously, Verna Young and Ed Got Bait are both in the house. They are my moderators. I'm almost here as much as I am, if not more. And so we thank you for all you do in the community. Andy Rabbit's in the house. I've obtained some pansy fees hatched from your eggs. I was wondering, one is kind of changing color from white to creamish and black. They're about 10 to 15 weeks old now. Are the pansy fees jumbo? No. You might get one or two that are very large, but overall they will not be jumbo size. Yeah, they won't be jumbo size. Sorry, I was reading something else. With the Bot is in the house from Southwest Louisiana. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Ellen says, I have Italians now. I'd like to try it with, but my concern is that the whites are carrying another color that will override the Italian. It will be difficult to achieve. It's not very difficult to achieve Italian tuxedos. It's hard to maintain them throughout the generations. Scott Gilliam, pretty sure I heard Bob singing, is in the house. Howdy from Magnolia, Texas. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Robert Davis is in the house from Maine. Welcome. Foster Farm says, hey guys, we have had two quail jumbo wild get egg bound. What could be causing that? Depending on how many you have, most likely they're deficient in calcium. Egg or fiber. It could be a couple different things. Most likely they have a deficiency of some sort, where the feed's just not giving them exactly what they need, so they're being egg bound. If the rest of them are okay, then it's just those two offs. So I probably would take them out of the breeding program anyway. But if you see a bunch of issues like that, then it's definitely a feed issue. Let's see. Scott F. is in the house. Happy holidays. You as well. Hopefully everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving and had a good time and rested. Pettimal Farm is in the house. Hi, y'all. Here and present from Tennessee. On time for a change. Good to be in the house. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. Katrina is in the house from Gilroy, California. I saw a post on Facebook today that she's going live on her YouTube channel tomorrow, Sow and Tear. She raises quail as well, but she also does an aviary setting. So if you're interested in that, you're more than welcome to join her live. The YouTube channel is called Sow and Tear, and you could always ask her questions about aviary settings for quail. she's had some luck with her quail going broody as well. Jasmine Bass is in the house. Howdy, hey quail friends and fanatics tuning in from Southwest Missouri. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Logan Graves is in the house. What's up? Welcome. Jennifer Mills is in the house from Alabama. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Kylie Chronicles is in the house. Welcome. Arturos Briska, I hope I said that correctly, is in the house from the UK. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Rebecca Abraham's in the house from Texas. I'm looking forward to starting my quail journey as soon as jumbo quail are back in stock in January. LOL, thank you for all the helpful videos, not a problem. And we are working a lot, very tirelessly, making sure that we have double to triple the numbers in jumbos for next year, as well as increasing our statistics on them, size and egg size and production and things like that. So we are working very, very hard this October, November, December, well, after QuailCon until the beginning of January is all focused around that. Pettimall Farms in the house, welcome. John Garcia is in the house. Hey, you sell pullets? I remember you did in the past. I live in the city, I can't have males. We sell female sets that will begin to start shipping mid to late January, which is probably what you would be looking for. Cena Renee's Apartmentstead is in the house. Good evening, Myshire Farm. Welcome. We're glad you're here. FJ is in the house from Louisiana. Welcome. It is an adventure. I told everybody, I think it was on Tuesday last week, that I heard it was pretty cool, but they said that a journey is something that you walk alone in. An adventure is when you do it with someone. So I said that I would start, instead of saying, well, you know, good luck on your quail journey, I'm going to start saying adventure because there's such a big community. So it's no longer a quail journey, it's a quail adventure because you have a lot of support and help and a lot of people cheering you on along the way. I thought that was pretty cool. Ba with the Ba is in the house. Says, I did tarp up a half of my outside cage. They have started laying again, getting about 30 eggs a day now, halfway there to full production back. Thank you for the advice. I'm glad that it helped. You could add electrolytes to the water about twice a week for the next 2 weeks, and that will probably get the other half to start moving. But I would assume the other half is going to not be too far behind starting to lay. But that's great. I'm glad that it helped. He asked last week, I think it was Tuesday, because he wasn't getting the eggs. So glad that worked out. Logan is in the house from Kentucky. Welcome. Used a clear shower curtain so light can still shine through. That's a great idea. Chuck Hink. I hope I said that correctly. I'm just going to say Chuck. I have 6-week-old males that are 10 ounces. 6-week-old males that are 10 ounces. Should I keep them longer to fill out for the freezer, or is it not worth it? They're going to get big. I'd still wait till 8 weeks. I think that you could still possibly get maybe about 3 ounces more. And that's a big enough difference to wait for just 2 weeks. I'd wait, but it wouldn't be the end of the world if you cut them short now. I'd wait another 2 weeks, but that's great size. Good job. Congratulations. Israel's in the house. Hello, Zach and community from Puerto Rico. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. Love that video in today's as well. Thank you, Verna. Oh, we got a $5 donation from Freddie York. Thank you very much. Halfway through my first hatching. We'll be buying some jumbo hatching eggs from you in January. Well, thank you very much, and thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate it. Oh, excuse me. Witchwood Homestead and Kennels is in the house. Good evening. Southeast Missouri is in the house. But you probably remember that. Typically, I'm pretty good rememberer, but there's some times where it's pretty bad. Alice Harden's in the house from Texas. Welcome. Andrea Perry's in the house from North Carolina. I did not see this earlier, and I'm so sorry. Logan Graves also donated $2 to the channel. Thank you very, very much. I did not see that earlier. I apologize, but thank you very much for your support and generosity. And says, hit the like button. Absolutely. Support the channel by hitting the like button. If we could get to 100 likes tonight, that would be really cool. So if you can help us get there by just hitting that, That is the golden night. Katrina says, I've not had the issue, but for prolapse, people suggest putting white sugar on it. Know the science behind why this would work. I think it has something to do with constructing blood vessels. I've heard that before. I've never tried it. I don't know too much about it. It might work. Here's the thing. You really don't want that stuff going on. So, like, it could be just, it could be very easily, stress because the predator almost attacked. Or stress because the weather changed and it's going to be fine, the next day. It could be something as simple as that. But I really don't, we don't give our quail anything extra. If they make it, they make it. If they don't, they don't. If they struggle, they go. Just because, by chance that could be from, that could be passed down. So just keep that in mind that, trying to do things like, boost them up with electrolytes or giving them some of the rooster booster or, cleaning their feet or, this, that, and the other. That's not a bad thing. But you don't want to go too far because you might be increasing your chances of breeding that into your cubby. So just keep that in mind. I have heard that before, Katrina. I just don't know much about it at all. Tony from Toronto is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Kylie Chronicles says hello from Australia. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Is it safe to process and consume injured quail? Is there a time frame they should be eaten by? I've heard within 24 hours for risk of infection. That is a very good question. We process our injured quail. We haven't had any for a while. But it all depends on the injury as well. So like bumblefoot, as soon as we catch it, we'll butcher it. There has been a few times that customers have sent me pictures and the infection has already started going up the leg. In that case, it'd be better just to pitch it. But I mean, that would take, I don't know, that would take months and months of that infection to move up that far. Scalping, not a big deal at all. I got injured. But sometimes they'll get pecked in the eye and then start swelling up. That's actually an infection. You don't want that. There's some times where they'll get an infection around the beak. You don't want that. So if it's an injury, it's not a big deal at all. Butcher it, eat it, it's all good. But if there is an infection of some sort, usually bumblefoot's not a big deal. It is an infection, but you cut the feet off anyway, not a big deal. But if you let it go for a long, long, long time, like I don't even know how long that would take. They said it just happened, but that is impossible because that doesn't happen. Usually it starts just, a little bump on the bottom of the foot, and then, you let it go for a few months, and then the foot kind of swells. And I've never seen one other than the pictures people have sent me where it's like went up the leg and the leg is swollen. That has to take a long time. So if it's other than first set of bumblefoot, if it's an infection, it's better just to call it, just be safe. But if it's an injury of some sort, scalping or overbreeding or whatever the case may be, yeah, it's completely fine. That's a very good question. Foster Farm says we're feeding chicken layer feed from TSC. Yeah, most likely if it was a feed issue, it would be 90% of them. I don't know how many you have. But if it's 2 out of 70, then those two just have a deficiency. If it's 2 out of 10, then I would start looking at it even closer. Brandy Tool says hello from Farmerville, Louisiana. I watched the video on the male cage. How long and often do you recommend covering with the tarp? For the male cage, the whole time. The whole time. Doesn't hurt them at all. They grow a little bit slower, but there's no fighting, there's no breeding, nothing like that. So yeah, the whole time. That's a good question. Well, whenever you put the male cage together. So like if they're in the brooder for 3 weeks and then you put males in one cage and females in the other, tarp the male cage from week 3 to whenever you butcher, which I recommend 8 weeks. Andrea Perry says, has anyone tried using the Winola Ranch water troughs as feeders? My 7-year-old suggested LOL, and I'm going to try it. I do have some customers that have done that and have had really good success with it. So yeah, we have not actually, because we use different kind of feeders that hold a lot more capacity. But it's not a bad idea at all. Dr. Connie's in the house. Happy evening to all. My quail have been acting squirrely the last 2 days. Do they sense an incoming change in the weather? Overnight low temps are dropping 20 degrees starting tonight. No, they don't. They don't have that sixth sense. Yeah, they don't really have that. I would assume because the weather's starting to change, there might be some predators around. So that might be it. It's hard to say. Scott F's in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Happy Hillbilly's in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. I was just talking about you the other day, Happy Hillbilly. And we ate all the pickles. We wanted some for Thanksgiving, and everybody was mad I didn't bring some. And I said, I'm out. Sundial Fragrance says, hello all. Welcome. We're glad you're here. It's Georgia from Texas. Just received the jumbo order a couple days ago and now in the incubator. Hope for a good hatch rate. Absolutely. Well, good luck. And as always, keep me posted. But I am sure you're going to do great. AJ's in the house. I had eggs explode in the incubator. I noticed on day 6 when I was adding water. I don't know how long it was like that before the egg was dried, but there was a smell. Will this affect my hatch? No, it shouldn't. I'm a little concerned about your temp, because usually it has to be real high for it to explode, even if it cracks. It takes quite a bit of temperature for it to explode. Could have been the turner. I'm a little concerned about your temperature, but overall it should be fine. You just need to make sure that you, I want to say sterilize, sanitize. That's the word. You want to sanitize your incubator as soon as this hatch is over, so it doesn't grow to your next hatch. Katrina says, glad everybody's feeling better. Ed got bait, Verna and myself. Absolutely. We're all doing better. So thank you very much. Andrea Perry's in the house. Welcome. Sue McKee is in the house. Welcome. We're glad you're here. There you go. You cleaning. Yeah. And just make sure you sanitize it after this hatch is over. But yeah, you're doing everything you should be doing. I'm just a little concerned about that temp. S.O. Swanson's in the house from the Mississippi Delta. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Carolina Kind Family Homestead is in the house. Welcome. Love the name. Glad you're here. Jesse Mills is in the house. Good evening, everyone. Just finishing up chores. Absolutely. I just finished maybe 20 minutes ago. So, yeah, I get it. Hopefully I'm not blurry. I'm not blurry on my end. Hopefully it fixed it for you, Scott. Foster Farm says crude fiber is 7% max. I don't remember the numbers. I thought it was supposed to be 9%, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I could be wrong. I don't remember. My video would know better than me. Type in the YouTube search bar feed by Myshire Farm, and that video will give you all the requirements and recommendations, but I can't remember anymore off the top of my head. A. Jones is in the house. Hi, Zach. Checking in from the northeast tip of Ohio. Well, welcome. Haven't seen you for a while. Glad you're here, and hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving weekend. Linda Easton Waller's in the house from Sacramento, listening while driving. Happy to be here. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here, and very glad that you're part of the community. Alice Harden is in the house. The best advice for a beginner like haven't purchased birds yet, working on aviary first. I actually have a playlist that's on the main page of our YouTube channel. It's called New to Quail and What You Need to Know. And that actually will give you a lot of information. That's where I would start. Because it's just not one thing you need to know. You need to You know, you need to make informed decisions, and you can't do that unless you have the information, and you just don't know what to ask because you just don't know. So all those videos are very, very short, but that will give you a lot of information, and then you will be able to start processing questions that you could ask. But that's where I would start. AJ's in the house. Okay, I'll just keep an eye on them. Hopefully all goes well. It shouldn't affect anything this time around. A. Jones is in the house. Welcome. Dr. Connie says, do you love your GT racing chair? Me and my son, Pat, go back and forth. It's actually his, but it's much more quieter and comfier than mine, so when he's in here, I get my old one, and then when he's not in here, I use it, but we're right across. But my grandma is actually having surgery like January 3rd, I don't remember, 6th? Beginning of January. So we'll actually be, I don't know what I'll be doing, because this room has to get moved back into a spare bedroom for her to stay here. So the desk is moving out, so I don't know where I'll be doing my lives while she's here. So we'll have to figure that out. But most likely, his desk will go into his room, so I'll be having my old chair back. Jose Ortiz is in the house, tuning in from Lexington, South Carolina. Welcome, we're glad you're here. Summer Coleman's in the house. Hello from Texas. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Miss Chris's Farm Feasts is in the house from Pennsylvania. Welcome. We're glad you're here. When will live quail be available? End of January is when we'll start shipping the live quail again. They'll be back on the website. Marilyn Perry says, how do you go about switching out your males? When we try to introduce a new male, they will absolutely beat the snot out of them within a couple of days. Sometimes they will be good for a couple of days. Yeah, so we actually have a video on what we do. It is... Verna, you could probably post that video so you can check underneath for the link, but it is introducing new quail to an existing flock covey. If you type in introducing new quail by Myshire Farm, that video will show up. We also have a blog where you can read it on our website, also called Introducing New Quail to an Existing Covey, on our website as well. But long story short, you take all the males out, get rid of them, put the new males into a small little cage, small little box, put all the hens into that box as well, keep them covered up with no light for about 2 hours, put them all back in there at the same time. They're all good to go. There's a little bit more to it, but that's the gist of it. But if you watch that video, you'll get all of it. Thanks for the shout out, Zach. Not a problem. Glad to be able to help. Again, Freddie York donated $5 to the YouTube channel, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you. And if you can support the channel by just hitting that like button, it is free. I would greatly appreciate it, and our goal tonight is 100. So we'll see if we can get to 100 likes. That'd be pretty cool. Samantha Nordbeck is in the house from Michigan. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Oh, there it is. Ed Got Bait actually posted or commented the link, introducing new quails to an existing flock. Thank you very much, Ed. Beth is in the house from Central Indiana. Welcome. Glad you're here. Happy Hillbilly says, we had good luck replacing roos with a sandbox for an hour or so. They got so busy with the sand they don't notice the new birds. There you go. That would work as well. Debbie at She Shed Homestead is in the house and donated $5 to the channel. Thank you very much for your support. I appreciate that, and welcome. I'm glad you're here. You're early tonight. Young Money Moguls is in the house. Baltimore here. Thanks for the bachelor pad video. Not a problem. Glad it could help. And wish you all the best. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Chuck says, where do I get my QuailCon tickets? I'll help you pronounce my last name. LOL. There you go. They will be available on our website probably starting in February. I got a lot going on before then. And I don't like to start selling tickets until I've got a rhythm going and a lot of the stuff is organized. So probably February is when they'll be on the website. But we'll make sure everybody knows about it. I'll tell you that. Samantha Nordbeck says, I ordered eggs from you and they hatched. It was a great experience for my kids. They loved watching them hatch. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, it really Coturni's quail really does turn into like a kid's or a family affair. You know what I mean? The kids really get into it. The adults really get into it. And it's really good quality time. So that's really cool. And I'm glad to hear it. Daniel Barrios, I hope I said that correctly, says, have you put quail through a meat grinder? Any you recommend to handle their bones and all? We have before. It's been, God, 7 years ago? I don't know, a long time ago. We haven't done it in a long time. But we actually made them into jerky for reptiles. And we just used the grinder that we had for the cows. So I would have no idea what to tell you to buy. I'm sorry. But we've got a grinder for the cows and the pigs, and that's just what we put it through. But we haven't done that in a long time. A. Jones says, with the rising cost of chicken eggs and meat, raising our own quail is looking to be a very smart move. Absolutely it is. Ed actually sent me an article today that they're killing 1.8 million egg-laying chickens in Nebraska, maybe, due to avian influenza. So prices are going to soar again, because that's a lot of egg-laying chickens for the grocery store. So they're going to go up even more. Carolina Kind Family Homestead says, great stream. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Jose Ortiz says, what's the average weight size of a quail egg versus a jumbo quail egg? I actually got videos on that, but you can actually go to a playlist called All About the Colors, and we break down every single color, average egg size, average weight, length of production, length of life, what they look like, how to sex them, how to get the color, all that jazz. Short little videos, but it goes into each one that you would be interested in, so you can check that out. But average egg size for a standard is around 9 to 11 grams. Average jumbo size is anywhere from 12 to 17. You can get larger. Typically they start turning into either poor hatch rates or double yolkers that don't hatch at all. I'm a little confused. Samantha says 25 and I think 17 hatched. Did I miss a hatch rate? Oh, I ordered eggs from you and they hatched. It was a great experience. Yeah, that's great. 17 out of 25. That's awesome. Congratulations. Very cool. Amanda Fagan says, I purchased autumn color quail. 2 of them came out blonde. How do you know if it's a boy or girl? They are solid blonde color. Thank you. They will, I mean, you have to wait until they're feather sexable at about 3 weeks old to be able to tell. But autumn ambers are a little tricky. But for the most part, patterned chest, speckled chest is female, solid chest is male, but some of those autumn ambers are a little tricky. Typically, you want to look at the head. Dark head means male, light head means female. But again, if you go to the playlist called All About the Colors, you can go to that short video. It's like 5 minutes about autumn ambers. It'll show you the difference between male and female, what they look like, how to sex them, and things like that. Thomas is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Kim is in the house from Georgia. Welcome. Glad you're here. I believe Thomas is in Louisiana as well. Amanda is in the house. They're a little over 3 weeks now. Yeah, I'd watch that video. That'll help you a lot because it's actually a show and tell. It's called All About the Colors. And then you would just go to the one that's all about the autumn ambers. And that will actually show and tell you exactly how to sex them. Bob Groves is in the house. Hello from Clanton, Alabama. I have 16 hens getting 14 to 16 eggs daily. Thanks for the great info. Congratulations. That's great. Wonderful numbers. And best of luck, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Doug Huss is in the house. Being a row crop farmer, can you grind your own grow out feed? You can. you would probably have a lot more experience. Typically, I don't recommend people grinding the feed. You probably have a lot more experience than most. Um, we used to feed our chicks, our grow outs, and our layers pellets. Um, so I mean, pellets work. Crumble is the best, but if you go to the video, if you type into the YouTube search bar "feed" by Myshire Farm, that video will show up. It'll show you exactly what we feed now. It's a crumble for both. We actually switch them from grow outs to layers, two different feeds, but it goes through all that information and things like that. That might interest you quite a bit on if you're going to try to do that. Witchwood Homestead and Kennel says, for my chickens, an awesome supplement is feeding their own eggs back to them. Yep, absolutely. Wondering about feeding them scrambled chicken eggs as well as a treat to supplement. Yeah, same deal. Yep, same thing, just bigger. My quail aren't laying, so it would have to be chicken eggs. There you go. Supplementing too much is usually an issue. So make sure you're not supplementing too much or giving them too much of eggs or mealworms or anything like that, because that can definitely uproot their laying system for sure. Aaron Gutros is in the house from South Louisiana. A lot of Louisians tonight. Welcome. I don't think that's what you're called, but you know what I mean. A lot of people from Louisiana is in the house tonight. Cali Quail Keepers in the house, listening in from Northern California. Hello to all. Welcome. We're glad you're here. Cali Quail Keepers is an admin on our Facebook group, Newbie Quail Lovers. She's doing a fantastic job on there. I actually forgot to post this week in there like I said I would, so I apologize about that, but she's staying on top of it, so that's nice. Debbie at She Shed Homestead again is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Sundial Fragrance says, just noticed today that one of my roosters was bleeding from his beak. No signs of fighting or predators. I am monitoring it. The bleeding has stopped. Not sure what could it be. Any ideas? It could be a lot of different things. They could have hit it while they were eating. They could have hit it, while they were drinking. They could have gotten a fight with another rooster or even another hen. They could have hit it on the top of the cage. It could be a lot of different things. Usually it's not that big of a deal. I need a drink, I'm sorry. Sue McKee says the chat is below Zach's screen, so I can't keep up with anyone. I'm sorry about that. Levi Acres Farm is in the house. Do bob whites lay as much as Coturnix? No. Bob whites are seasonal layers. I think they only lay 3 months a year. And if I remember correctly, I think it's like at max 100 eggs a year, something like that. So no, the Coturnix are about 3 times better layers. Rebecca Abrams in the house. For those that use manure trays, would you suggest pine shavings, horse pellets, or something else to absorb the moisture and help with the smell? Any of them would work. Pine shavings works great. Horse pellets would work great too. Probably be easier and cheaper for the pine shavings. But yeah, either one's a great idea. Kim Haggard is in the house. I have chickens under a heating plate. They go in and out for food, but one of them comes out and chirps a lot and then goes back under. Do I need to adjust anything? I have it at the lowest height. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the heating plates for Coturnix chicks. I don't think that they work very well. I like the heat bulbs, the heat lights, ceramic lights. I don't mind. But I'm not a big fan of the heating plates, unfortunately. And no, you just got to keep it, but you can't go any lower, and as long as they can get under there, that'll work. You're just going to have to adjust it quite a bit because they grow very quickly. Ellen Martin's in the house. What is your opinion of hatching time cages? It's a good question. I don't have a very good answer because I don't have any. I don't have any experience with them, so I really don't know. Some people really like them. Some customers swear the worst things in the world about them. So I don't know. I would definitely check reviews and see what they say on there. I do believe Why can I not remember who had hatching time cages? I can't remember anybody that has hatching time cages right now. I'm sorry. I'm sure there's a lot of people on here with hatching time cages, so please give Ellen your review on them. But I don't have any experience with them. I have experience with Wynola Ranch. Love them. Have nothing bad to say about Wynola Ranch cages at all. And Dale's Quails cages, which I don't have anything bad to say about Dale's Quails cages either. But preferably, I don't really like the plastic. But you know, to each its own, and I just don't have any experience to say how they you know, maintain and how well they do and things like that. Sorry. It's a good question. I just don't have enough facts to be able to answer that. Well, Joseph's in the house. Hello. Just wondering what I should do if my quail hatched with little to no feather. That's weird. PJ's Family Farm. Thank you. Appreciate that text. PJ's Family Farm has them. They are an admin on Quail in the Kitchen on Facebook, as well as, I think, Quail Call. I do believe. So you could reach out to them, and she'd be able to give you an honest review of how she likes them. Just wondering what I should do if my quail hatched with little to no feather. I don't think I've ever seen a quail hatch out with little to no feather. I'd probably give it a few days, give it some electrolytes, and see how it turns out. Could just be wet. I've never seen one never hatch out with feathers. That's a little weird to me. Levi Acres Farm is in the house. What is the best breed to buy for egg laying? It's a good question. I would recommend. Whoa, let's start that over, shall we? I would recommend either the Feather Sexable mix. They're good layers. They're easy to feather sex. They're a good starter. The golds are very good layers. And the BTAs, the Black Tie Affair, the Tuxedo mix. Dear Lord, those things are fantastic layers. I mean, fantastic layers. I'm really impressed with this new generation. And if you order those, you get the new generation, which is pretty cool. CVS 570s in the house from Maryland. How can I get the humidity up in my incubator during lockdown? I have a 10x10 tray with a large sponge in it and keep it filled with water and can't get the humidity above 40%. There's something wrong with the incubator, for sure. I would check your fan. That's one thing. I don't know what kind of incubator you have. I would assume it's a large one, which probably means that you need multiple trays in there with water sponges. That usually does the trick. So I would assume you've got a circulation issue as well as you've got a larger incubator or lockdown than what one tray could just do for you. Christopher K's in the house. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. We're glad you're here. AJ is in the house. Says temps are around 99 to 100 around when the eggs was. I have 2 gobies inside. There you go. Well, that's good. It was just a concern of mine because usually it has to get pretty hot for it to bust. So that's kind of weird. But, I mean, it could have been a turner. It could have been cracked already. It's hard to say. So, yeah, I think you're doing everything right. And you're doing everything you can. So I wouldn't stress about it. Texas Top Shelf Reptiles is in the house. Just getting in. Hello, everyone. Hope all is well. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. And that's right. Witchwood Homestead and Kennels already had the answer. There you go. Yeah, washcloth would work. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. S.O. Swanson says CVS 570. Do you have a second device to test the humidity in the incubator? And is it near to an air vent, air register? That's a good idea too. Yeah, there you go. Good thinking. Crystal says all kinds of great information on YouTube. Good evening, everyone from Ohio. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. And thanks for stopping by. Kylie Chronicle says, thank you. Funny story. We've just returned from 21 hours away to find an 8-day-old chick had escaped the brooder tub and survived without heat, food, or water and didn't get eaten by the mouse or cat. That is pretty good luck. Maybe it just happened. Pretty good luck, though. She was very weak and almost lifeless. Got her under the heat and drinking, and she was eating with a few hours. We'll tag her as our miracle chick. Absolutely. Congratulations on that. Glad that worked out. Sundial Fragrance Sniff Recommendations is not talking to me. Again, Debbie at She Shed Homestead donated $5 to the channel, so thank you very much for your donation. I appreciate that. If you want to help the channel grow and support the channel by us doing these lives and things like that, all you need to do is just hit that like button and support the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps the channel grow, get the word out there, and it makes me happy. Thanks. No one's talking to me right now. Oh, here we go. Texas Top Shelf Reptile says, I got leg tags that are different colors so I know when to swap out quail from the aviary. There you go. Very good idea. I do believe quailcage.com actually sells Coturnix quail leg bands, so you can always check that out. Jose Ortiz says, what do quail eat? Same feed as chickens? Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much the same thing. I do have a video called Feed by Myshire Farm. In fact, the video to that is right below your comment. You could click on that, and that actually shows what we feed. But yeah, whatever you feed the chickens will be the same thing. Joseph says, one of my chicks has little to no feathers, so I need to leave it longer in lockdown. It currently is in lockdown. Most likely it's just really wet, so it just needs to dry out, if I had to guess. Because I have never seen a Coturnix quail hatch out with no feathers. That would be really weird. Ed Bates says 36 count of eggs from Walmart is currently $8.88. Hate to see it go up. God, that's ridiculous. Cali Quail Keeper says, I refuse to pay $4.50 a dozen for chicken eggs. California prices, quail are getting my needs met. Absolutely. And cheaper, and healthier, and better, and fun. North Georgia quails in the house. I hatched 18 jumbo whites from Myshire. Of the 30, 25, however, one didn't make it. 5 were infertile. 7 didn't hatch so far. The hatch rate is 72%. It's a good start. There you go. Congratulations. And yeah, not bad at all. Let's see, 18 out. Yeah, not bad at all. Congratulations. That's good numbers on shipped eggs, especially this time of year. So thanks for letting me know. And hopefully they get big and healthy and meaty and great producers for you. I really like the jumbo whites. Cali Quail Keeper says, restaurant gave back extra eggs, 2 months old. Can I feed them back to quail that old? I don't know. I've never tried that. I'd probably break a couple open, see how they look, see how they smell, and maybe just feed 1 or 2 and see if they die. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that answer. I would assume that they would be okay, but I don't know for sure. I've never had that old of eggs before. I would assume they're okay, but it's hard to say. I'd test them out and just do a few for a day or 2 and see how they do. Redneck Wine Diva says, hey, hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. Absolutely. Hopefully you did as well. My Myshire eggs are in lockdown. Wonderful. Good luck. And I wish you all the best, and obviously keep me posted. Debbie at She Shed Home says, I just went out to the she shed, and 5 out of the 6 of my hens from my silver collection eyes were pecked so bad. That's weird. I took the hen out that did it. It was the hen that did it. Any ideas why this would happen? They have been together for 6 months. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to give you an exact answer without having a ton of information and knowing the environment and the situations like that. Usually, most likely this is not the case. Usually it has to do with them running out of feed and water, getting territorial. So that's one thing to look at. I would assume that that's not the case with you. Sometimes it's due to, some sort of predator, a rat, a mouse, a cat, anything, getting close to the cage. And typically the alpha of the group starts freaking out and then starts just beating the crap out of the other quail for some reason. That's a couple things to look at, but without knowing a lot more, it's hard for me to say. It's a little bizarre, especially since they've been together for so long. So something obviously changed. You would just have to try to find out what that was. And, if it didn't happen when you weren't around, it's hard to say. Texas Top Shelf Reptile says, I use pine shavings and horse stall lime for my aviary. There you go. Thanks for sharing. Katrina says, I use heating plates. You have to adjust them so they have contact with them and can press up against them. They're not like a heater. They actually should be able to touch them. There you go. Robert says, good evening all from Ohio. My quail are 2 weeks old and doing great. That is wonderful to hear. Congratulations. And not too much longer, you'll start getting your own eggs. It was PJ's Family Farm. I knew it was somebody. I just could not remember for the life of me who had them. Thank you. Callie Quail Keeper says, have you heard of using crushed walnut shells for substrate or bedding, like for parrots? I have never heard that. No, not for Caternix quail. I don't know. I mean, I would assume it would work, but no, I've never heard anybody do that with quail. Quail Corner Homestead's in the house. Raymond and Gretchen in New Jersey. Well, welcome. We're glad you're here. Whew, my throat's starting to hurt. I'm going to take a cough drop. Robert says, Winola cages are great, but you wait too long to get them. I waited over a month. Well, they are made in the U.S. It does take a little bit of time, and it's just a family that does it. So it's not this big, huge corporation or anything. It's a small dad and, 2 brothers and a daughter, and, they make it happen. So they do everything themselves. So it does take a little while because they make them to order. But it's made in the U.S. and they're great cages. So, it usually does take about 3 weeks to a month. I think they're caught up now, but starting in January, it'll probably be, 3 weeks to a month and a half, something like that. So you'd want to get the order in early, but they are great cages. Texas Top Shelf Reptile says, I use dry lock over the wood cages I build and brooder. It was a waterproof masonry paint that turns rock hard. Then I power wash them for cleaning. There you go. Good idea. Dr. Connie says, when you do 12-day balutes, do they have any feathers by then? Yeah, they'll have some feathers by day 12. I mean, 2 more days they go into lockdown. They'll have feathers. Katrina says, regarding the humidity, another issue, is it in a room with a fan or draft? Oh, that's a good idea too. See? We're helping each other out. That's a good idea. Chief and Prepper is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. And welcome to the community. Callie Quail Keeper says, KK, they have at feed store, look like good option. Interesting. Girasol Farm. Hopefully I said that correctly. Hey, Zach, welcome. Glad you're here. Panama Farm says, will you be offering jumbo whites live? No, I do not ship any jumbos live ever. We ship our quail at 3 weeks old once they're off the heat lamp. That's just the best time to ship them, safest time to ship them, but it's at 3 weeks old. So that stress, that time away from constant food and water, that, change in environments, just everything involved really affects jumbo's weight. So if you order jumbos, they're not going to get to their full potential because we've stressed them out in the most crucial time of them gaining weight. So I just don't see how it's beneficial to customers getting jumbos live and shipping them. So I only ship standards. Doesn't really seem to affect the weight very much in standards. Usually takes an extra week or two for them to get their full feathers in and be okay. But it doesn't affect the standards like it does the jumbos. But it affects the jumbo weights quite a bit when you ship them. So we only do hatching eggs for best results. If you can, support the channel by just hitting that like button. We need 21 more likes to hit our goal for the night. So if you can help us with that, if we're answering your questions, giving you some ideas, or you just want to be helpful, I would greatly appreciate it by just hitting that like button. Tovras Art Studio is in the house. Welcome. We're glad to hear. I'm from California. How to find what price should be for your quails and eggs, or do you have video on your channel about it? I do have a Quail for Profit playlist on our YouTube channel. I would highly recommend watching those videos. A lot of my customers that start doing Quail for Profit, they have said that those videos really help them out. They're short, but they will give you a lot of good information to think about. But you will need to do some research. You'll need to get on Craigslist and look at your local stores and things like that, because it really depends on what your area is. Obviously, I think in California, obviously California prices are majorly different than Ohio prices. So for example, like my, we'll say eating eggs, I could sell them for 50 cents here, but I know someone in Washington State that sells them for 80 cents an egg, and I know someone in Kentucky or Tennessee that can't get any more than 20 cents an egg. So it has a lot to do with your area, with your availability, with your competition, so it's hard to say. But like those videos will go into, the best thing to do is find out what your cost is, decide how much you're wanting to pay yourself, and then go from there, because that might, let's say your cost is, 7 cents an egg, or 10, we'll just say 10 cents. Let's say your cost is 10 cents an egg and you want to make 10 cents for every one you sell for you to keep. So you need to sell them for 20, but your market might say, well, you can sell them for 80 cents. Well, then don't cut yourself short. So, unfortunately, I can't give you a good answer. I'm sorry. Myshire Farm is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. New Jersey. Welcome. Diana Tuttle is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Vernon Young says, thumbs up, everybody. Absolutely. Chief and Prepper says, can't wait till January when I can order some wilds. I'm working on it, I promise. But we got to do better than we did this year. 14, 16 week wait is just not acceptable to me. And so we've got to replace all of our breeders as well as increase. So we're working on it, I promise. Texas Top Shelf Reptile says, how much is everyone selling their dozens of eggs for? Wholesale, retail. There you go. Katrina said, oh, you're not talking to me. Cali Quail Keeper says, love this community. Absolutely. AJ says, my stress is real. Yeah, don't stress. You're doing everything that you can, and there's not much you can do about it now. So just let it go. Keep the temp and the humidity correctly. I think you said you had 2 gobies in there. You kind of cleaned it as quickly as you could. You're doing everything right. Just maintain, stay the course, and don't overstress. So you're doing fine, AJ. Halfway through the hatch, almost there. There you go. Joy is in the house. Welcome. Better late than never. Absolutely. Just like Chris from Slightly Redneck says, we do not take attendance. We're just happy you're here. So there you go. Kim Haggard says, is a 250 watt red heating bulb too bright? I keep adjusting it, but I can't seem to find the right distance from the chicks to keep all of them happy. That's why I tried the heat plate. Yeah, we do a 250 watt for the first week, and then we go down to a 125 watt for week 2 and 3. Robert says, the feeding trough in the middle of the cages, the quail make a huge mess. How can you prevent that? You can put a little, make a little, take some scrap metal, some scrap wiring of your cage. Put that in there. That seems to help quite a bit as well. So you'll just have that in there, and then you'll put the feed in, or you'll have the feed and then you'll put that in, and then they won't, get so much to it. And then make sure that the trough is on the outside of your cage as well. And it wouldn't be a horrible idea to maybe, it could be as cheap as cardboard. And just put like a little cardboard liner all the way around it, so that when they do, do that with the feed, it's hitting the cardboard and coming back in. That's a couple of ideas. Kevin Workman says, does the survival of chicks get better or worse with a larger hatch? And do you have a quick fix for saddle leg? Did I miss something? I did. Okay, I'll answer yours, then I'll go back to the one I missed. I'm sorry. It has nothing to do with how many chicks. It has to do with the brooder system. Typically, a lot of people that do large amounts in the brooder do typically lose a lot more. It's much harder to keep and control the temperature and the feed and the water and all that jazz. So until you get a system down, you could lose more. And splay leg, you can fix a couple different ways, a couple of ideas. Put a rubber band around them for about a couple of hours. That usually fixes the issue. Put them in the shot glass for 20, 30 minutes. That can fix the issue. Tape them together for a day. That can also fix the issue. So really, you're just making sure that they stay together for a little bit, and then they'll correct itself. But that usually has to be done right away. Daniel says, sorry, my Wi-Fi went out. I don't see my question in the chat thread, so not sure if it was posted. What meat grinder do you recommend using for quail with bones and all? Unfortunately, we have done that before. It was years and years ago, but we did the meat grinder that we have for our pigs and our cows in our butcher shop. So I have no idea what to recommend. I would assume any chicken grinder would do the trick. Unfortunately, we already had one here, and we just used a much bigger one than what we would have needed. Just because that's what we had. So I don't have a good recommendation for you. I'm sorry. But you can do that. Cali Quail Keeper says, Zach, does the poo stay dry for you in winter in barn? I started using triple screen shaving on trays. Yeah. Poop stays dry all year round for us. Kylie Chronicle says, Miracle Chick was found 52 feet from the brooder tub, which was latched closed, thinking she must have flown out before we left while the lid was off briefly. There you go. That's crazy. I can't believe it lasted that long. And now doing okay. That's pretty cool. Happy Homestead says, Devil's Elbow, Missouri is in the house. Do I need to grind oatmeal a bit to feed it to full-grown jumbos? They flung it everywhere today, LOL. You do not need to grind it. You don't need to. No, they'll eat it. Robert's not talking to me. And yes, very lucky for sure. Absolutely. Glenn Wells says, lost 3 of my 87. They were smaller than the rest and lasted to day 3 or 4. My question is, what percentage of loss should be expected after they hatch? My hatch rate is 90.04%, but I lose some. Typically, there's really not much to worry about until it goes over 10% through the entire lifespan. So from day old chick to laying eggs, you could lose about 10%. So for example, you hatched out 87. If you lose more than 8 between day 1 to the end, and that includes, if a male kills another male, or, one gets severely injured and you have to put it down, whatever the case may be, just, one drowns, that their whole point in life is to try to find creative ways to die, and your job is to prevent that from happening. So typically about 10%. If it goes below that, it's really not worth going into. If it goes above that, then we need to start making some changes. So I would say you're still fine. Let's see. Witchwood Homestead and Kennel says, Zach, have you ever had quail start egg eating like chickens sometimes do? No, but all of ours are layer cages. They're sloped cages. So as soon as they lay the eggs, they come straight out to me, so that I don't have to get in the cages every day. Texas Top Shelf Reptiles says, I'm selling my wholesales at $2.50 and retail for $8 for hatching, and $1.50 for day olds. There you go. Juanita Fields is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Haven't seen you for a while. Kevin K says, is it worth releasing some excess birds into the wild, or will the pen-raised birds not make it and reproduce? No, Coturnix quail will not reproduce or make it in the wild here. They are bottom of the food chain, and they're just not that smart. And they don't fly. And they're not fast. And they'll die if you release them. Cali Quail Keeper says organic and non-GMO selling for $8 a dozen here. There you go. That's in California. Brittany Dominique is in the house. Welcome. Glad you're here. Ellen says, how long are eggs viable for hatching on the counter? How long are washed refrigerated eggs edible? Thanks. So eggs to hatch is good for 7 days. It does not affect the fertility at all. After that, from day 7 to day 10, you lose about 5% fertility, so it's not the end of the world. But starting on day 8, you do start losing fertility. And again, between day 8, 9, and 10, you lose about 5%. And then after that, you're losing about 5% a day after day 10. And what I've always told my customers, or what we do for our corporate accounts, or whatever the case may be, is they are good for 2 weeks once they're laid, either refrigerated or on the counter for eating. So if you collect them and put them in the fridge, they're good for 2 weeks in the fridge. Do not keep them on the counter. If you collect them, put them on the counter, they're good for 2 weeks. Just if you put them in the fridge, they need to stay in the fridge until they're eating. So that's what I've always told my customers, and no one's ever gotten sick. Knock on wood. I hate oatmeal too. I don't like anything about it. Witchwood Homestead and Kennel says, mine do not. They have sandbox rooms to lay in. Just wondering if it has been seen before in birds that can reach the egg, so I know if I need to worry. Yeah, they will eat them. Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I didn't answer the question correct. I don't have to worry about it because I have layer cages that come on out. But yes, if the eggs stay in there, it's possible. Usually they'll leave the eggs alone unless they step on them and break them, or they crack some way, and then they'll eat the crap out of them if they're cracked. Winnie Field says, how often should I trim my bird's wings? I have never trimmed a Coturnix quail wing before in my life. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. Glenn Wells is not talking to me. No one seems to be talking to me. Robert says, I have the wire cover on my trough and egg rollout that Winola offers. There you go. Panama Farm says, made a sift with 1/4 inch hardware cloth for wasted feed beneath cages. Use it for chickens, recycling when possible. There you go. It's a great idea. Witchwood Homestead and Kennel says also with chickens, their beaks can sometimes get overgrown, requiring trimming. Is there even a factor among quail, and do people trim wings on quail? No, I would say a very, very large majority of people do not trim wings or beaks in Coturnix quail. You'll find some people do, but that is a very small minority, and it's really not an issue. I've seen a couple quail that have overgrown beaks, and they get called and go to a falcon or something like that because I don't want them into my breeding program. Yeah, I mean that's very, very, very small, small amount of issues like that. Very small. Nothing like chickens. Andy Rabbit says, for laying eggs, is red light or white light better? White light is better. Great question. Red light is good for growth. White light is good for production. Susan Kruger's in the house. Hi, I'm late, but we got 7 out of 25 jumbo whites. Had hard time with humidity. I am sorry to hear that. I will write that down, but if you got them from me, make sure you reach out to me so we can get you refunded for the 50% of the eggs, because that is what we guarantee. So make sure you get with me, and hopefully we can figure out what happened or how to fix the humidity issue. Anyway, Texas Top Shelf Reptile says, I went out there with 20 dozen and gave them out to the vendors for free. Made labels that partly pull off if you bring back the packaging. I gave 50 cents off the next buy for recycling the cartons. There you go. Katie S says, how can I protect outdoor quail when in the Wynola cage? I have had a few snapped necks. It's a good question. I would actually reinforce the back and the sides. Really, you could reinforce the whole thing with 1/4 inch wire. And then just cut, one of the lines out to make a little bigger of an opening for their heads to get out for food or water if that's outside your cage. But reinforcing with 1/4 inch on all the sides and even on top will help a lot. Or anything, reinforcing it with something like that is my point. Oh, there it is. That's a good question. Kylie Chronicle says, really good questions today. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for asking. I appreciate it. Susan says, I checked all that did not hatch and 9 did not even start. Odd. Uh, 16. Yeah, so you had 9 that fully developed that didn't hatch. So that's definitely a humidity issue. Yeah, make sure you get with me. We'll make sure you get taken care of. Kim Haggard says, I had one quail just hatch with its feet curled inward. Do they usually straighten off on their own? No, they do not. You can, tape them flat for a day or two, and that usually fixes the problem. But usually the cause of that is a humidity issue in your lockdown. The Grazing Farm says, hello, quail friends. Greetings from Southwest Missouri. Sorry I'm so late. It's been a busy one on the homestead. I get it. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Quail Corner Homestead says, how do you add younger quail to an older quail in the cage? Do you put everybody in the new cage, or do you just hope for the best? No, I actually have a video on that, and it's actually right below where you commented is the YouTube video to watch, and it's introducing new quail to an existing flock. And that information is going to give you a lot more than what I could briefly try to do now, plus it's showing you in this, that, and the other. So I'd watch that video when you're done here. It's only like 5-7 minutes long, and that'll give you all your information. But no, you want to disorient them, long story short. You want to disorient them, and then they'll not know what's going on. Vermont Quail is in the house. Welcome, glad you're here. Kim says, do the heat lights need to be red? I have a clear one that 120 watt, but didn't know if it needed to be red. I don't think the 120s come in red. I think it's only the 250s that do, but I could be wrong. And no, it doesn't need to be red. Dr. Conley says, can you clip longer beaks or long toenails? Would they bleed if you cut too short? But no, I mean, it's just, they wouldn't bleed if you just trim it, no. But, I mean, if you get too high up, then it definitely would. Crystal Grub says, does anyone recommend any specific egg peeler? I spent hours peeling eggs for Thanksgiving dinner. Never again. There you go. I do not know that question, unfortunately. I've not ever I got an egg peeler once, and it was a piece of crap. And I've not really looked into it since. Callie Quail Keeper says, selling to dog trainers for pointing. They train quail to be flighty before in the field. Bigger the fight, the better. Rosetta and Tibetan fly furthest. There you go. Witchwood Homestead and Kittle says, thanks, Zach, and others for the info. The question I have asked tonight are all I could think of based on chicken experience. I'm rebuilding my quail after catastrophic loss, so no experience. I completely understand that. And you can take a lot of your experience with chickens and move that into quail, but quail are very specific. So you're asking the right questions and you're on the right path. So I wish you the best of luck, and we're here if you have any other questions. Chief and Prepper says, if you're using your eggs to eat, do they have to be refrigerated? If not, how long are they good on the counter? I just answered that, but I think you asked before I answered that other question. But long story short, it's 2 weeks, and they can go in the fridge or they can be on the counter. It's 2 weeks from being laid that they're good for eating. Technically, you can go a little past that, but that's what I tell all my customers. And no one's ever gotten sick, so knock on wood. So 2 weeks. Pet'emall Farm says, I've had a couple that required beak trimming, but never had to trim them a second time. Think it was an oddity growth spurt early. There you go. Yud P is in the house. Does Myshire have jumbo white eggs available, and how long it take to order today? We do have the jumbo whites on the website now, and if you ordered now, they would go out late next week. So about a week. Stanley Gregg is in the house. Hey, Zach, what would you get if you bred a jumbo wild to a jumbo white hen? You would get wilds, whites, and eventually you would start getting tuxedos. So the back would be wild and the front would be white. Ramon Quail Kit says, can you use a grinder to trim quail feet or beaks? I would not recommend it, no. And Pet'emall Farm is right on the nose. If you're going to trim anything, I would do like a cat nail clipper or something like that. Yeah, that would probably work. S.O. Swanson. That would probably work. Vermont Quail says, no, a bench grinder. No, a bench grinder, just joking. There you go. No, that would not work at all. Happy Homestead says, Zach, can I tell the sex of the pearls before they feather out? No. Lighter yellow with little to no black are males, etc. I had all yellow ones stretch out and crow to me today, 5 days old. No, you just gotta wait the 3 weeks. I would agree, S.O. Swanson. That probably would give him a heart attack, yeah. Oh, we did. We did just hit over 100 likes. And that was the last question. So we got it right on time. Pretty cool. A lot of great questions tonight. Had a lot of fun. Hopefully everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I am very, very busy the next day and a half. Well, I mean, I'm always busy, but I'm very busy the next couple of days. But you will be getting a couple YouTube videos this week. I am caught up on my phone orders and emails. And all that jazz, so I'm pretty excited about that, but probably until Wednesday you won't hear too much from me, except for our Tuesday Night Live, obviously. I will be here for that, and then we've got some good videos coming your way. So we've got why is my fertility low and what to look for, and what to start with when you're starting your adventure with Coturnix quail. So those videos are coming this week. Hopefully you will enjoy those. And I did see a couple more questions, so I'll answer those and then we will get out of here. Witchwood Homestead and Kendall says, last question, promise order jumbo wilds. Got one white wing. It's weird, but I'm sure that was my fault. Normal expectation or someone got a wrong egg and by accident, not Myshire eggs, no worries. Oh, they're not mine. Okay. Then I didn't do anything wrong. It's hard to say. I don't know. It could have been an accident. It could just been the hidden gene from the Jumbo Wilds from previous generations. I wouldn't worry too much about it. And that is all of the questions. So thank you very much, everybody. Remember, there's a bunch of YouTube video lives going on this week at other YouTube channels. So make sure you check those out. I will make sure that the admins on their Facebook groups post those on when the lives go on during the week, so that you know if you want to join one of those. And watch for our videos this week. If you have not already, we do have some good videos coming your way. And a lot of announcements that we've been working on for quite some time coming up in the next month. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. You will not want to miss the information that's coming your way. And watch for the videos this coming week. I will be back Tuesday with a rapid fire fast live Q&A at 8 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. So make sure you check that out. And until then, everybody, as always, stay safe. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it.